Hey, peace, world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. We will get to some bite down boxing really quickly, though. Last night I checked out the Sky Zoo Retropolitan tour stop in Columbus, Ohio, at Scully's Diner and Music Bar, or something that it's called. But one of my favorite spots locally to catch a show, or nearby to catch a show. The show was fire, man. Elzhi was an opening act. I was hopeful that he would show up, especially with Columbus kind of being, within proximity to Detroit in terms of artists traveling and whatnot. So didn't get to talk to Elzhi, but I did get a good interview in with Sky Zoo, and I'm gonna try to post that later on tonight after I get off work. Huge shout out to my man Vice Soul Electric from out of Cleveland. I actually had him on my podcast when Pay Me No Mind was just an audio podcast. Talked to him a couple of years ago when he had a project out and actually had a feature from Sky Zoo on that album. But anyway, man, Sky Zoo, as you can see, I had to cop a little bit of merch. Just one of my favorite lyricists, man. One of this album, Retropolitan, I think I did a review on it, but a joint project with the great Pete Rock, longtime hip-hop producer Pete Rock, and it was just a phenomenal night, man. This kid, C10, I think he's from Columbus. I always enjoy his presentation. He's a pretty dope artist. I don't want to put any level on what he is, small time, local, whatever. He's a big spirited dude. I really like his flow. A cat from my city, from Dayton, Ohio, actually got up there and got to do a 16 or 2, which was a dope song. But E-Man, I think he might be E-Man Jones, but definitely E-Man. And then there were a couple other guys, 60 East from the West Coast. What was the other brother's name? Cat from Chicago, who was pretty fire. Fillmore Green, dope dude. Love that sound. Him and his DJ, the producer, I can't remember his name. Something Hottie or something, but Hadi, not Hottie, like as a female. But and then this brother from New Mexico, Wordwell. I'll get back to you on that. But anyway, dope night out. I was glad that I made the trip. I'm gonna keep this one short, man. I've been saying one of my questions. This is regarding Devin Haney being elevated or promoted to WBC lightweight full champion with Vasiliy Lomachenko, being promoted or elevated to franchise champion. The second one in boxing, with joining Canelo Alvarez. It's interesting that this is happening to two guys who seemingly can have a few divisions to play with, where they can fight at. Maybe that's a requirement. A fighter has to have shown some willingness to do that. Not a lot of guys can do that or want to do that. But anyway, in this Devin Haney situation, one question that I've been asking the last couple of years is, and we have it happening tomorrow with Shakur Stevenson, is it kind of a hit or a negative to a younger fighter who goes and fights another opponent for a vacant title? Does that somehow kind of like stunt, your growth and development as a fighter? I mean, to me, it's got to be something to beat a champ. Not just you got to beat the man to beat a man, but you have to beat a champion who knows what it takes, who knows what sacrifices are needed, who knows, being in those championship rounds. Do you take some things away from yourself in not facing that individual? I'm sure a guy will also have demonstrated what kind of chin he has or what kind of dog is in him. So to fight another guy, who hasn't done all of that for a vacant title, depending on depending on who the opponent is, and we'll see tomorrow night with Joet Gonzalez. But let's look at an easy, comparison. Let's look at what's transpired in the careers of Robert Easter Jr., who fought Richard Commey for a vacant title. Make what you will of where those two guys are now and what they've done since that meeting, and now how ironic it is that Commey now has that IBF lightweight title that they fought for back in 2.5 years ago or whatever. Lastly, some champions, in some circles in boxing, they say to be when you become a champion, you gain 30. You become 30%. Wherever we pull this number from, you're 30% better fighter. You're a fighter plus 30%, better or whatever, however they word it. But you're better. It's a confidence boost, and you go into your next fight a better fighter. And for here, in this situation with Devin Haney, to receive this title, via, email, notification of some kind, phone call, whatever, do you skip out on that boost of confidence, which is a function really of what I just said earlier in beating a reigning champion who's demonstrated a bunch of things in becoming a champion, him or herself. So, how do you go into this situation now? He destroyed Zaur Abdullayev, in that eliminator, or to become the mandatory. Okay, but he wasn't much. He was like the number 3 guy, the number 2 guy when they fought. But now, where do you go in terms of your, your title defense? Obviously, whoever this opponent is for the KSI and Logan card that's in that's going to be in California, this isn't really an opponent who you were looking for as a title defense. It was maybe another showcase or a stay busy fight or whatever. But like I said, I just wonder, does this situation rob a younger fighter in some important developmental steps in their career? And then very lastly, with Lomachenko, to be so close to becoming an undisputed champion, there's only been 6 or 7 of them, I think, that have held all of the 4 major belts. You were right there to make this happen, awaiting the winner of Commey and Teofimo Lopez. And now what does that do for that? It just seems like bad timing, unnecessary, and just all news isn't really good news. And I don't think the fallout from much of this is really worth kind of what was on the horizon within the next 6 or 7 months. So I don't know, man. That's about that. I mainly wanted to just show off my new t-shirt for Casual Fridays. So anyway, man, pay me no mind, which a lot of people do. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Peace.